Magic 95.9, and welcome to GBMC's Facebook Live. We're here today to talk about healthy habits for your family, and I have an expert on healthy habits. If you can move closer to me, Nancy. Yeah, we're going to get cozy here. We're just going to have a conversation. Right. We are talking to Nancy Glaser, and she's a registered dietitian at the Geckel Diabetes and Nutrition Center with GBMC. How are you today? School has started, and it's the holiday season, and it's cooler months kicking in. So I think talking health and diet is very, very important at this point in time.
Right, and as our schedules get busy and people everywhere going to school and going to work and going to sports and everything else, it just, when do I plan my meals?
When and how and what do I eat and all of that stuff. So what I want to do, because the listeners and the viewers were very excited about this topic and they have a lot of questions already, so let's dig into their questions first. Someone wanted to know, what should I pack for lunches? That's a good question. It's basic, but it's a very good question.
Yeah, and it really depends on what you like. So if you like sandwiches, we can talk about how to make those sandwiches very nutritious, full of vitamins, minerals, fiber. If you like leftovers, things like that can really be helpful. Cheese and crackers and just a variety of different foods. So it's all sorts of different things can really fit into that lunchbox, but it really depends on what you like to eat, because we can certainly manipulate it around what you like to eat.
So if you're watching and you were the person who asked that question, if you can please be more specific, we'll come back to it and we'll answer it a little more thoroughly. Now, another person wanted to know, they said, we are running around after school, in parentheses, sports and activities. What do we do about dinner?
Great question.
Because they're probably not going to get home till 8 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
We talk about this in my house all the time, because going to soccer and going to just leadership meetings and things, we often don't get home till 8 o'clock, but the biggest thing is plan ahead. It's the most critical thing. It's a 4-letter word, plan, but it really has a lot of meaning to it. And if you can take a little bit of time and plan ahead, it makes a huge difference. So if you know you're going to be out and you're not going to get in till 9 o'clock at night, hack your dinner.
Okay.
It just saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of money. I mean, fast food can be really cheap, but not if you're getting full from it.
Sick. Yeah.
So it's not such a great choice. But if you can plan ahead, pack those dinners, use a crock pot. Find some great crock pot recipes. Put it in there that morning. You've got dinner when you get home.
Makes sense. Another question is, we are rushing out the door in the morning. What can I fix for breakfast? That's very good.
Yep. So again, there's that 4-letter word, plan. So if you know it's hectic in the morning, which for most people that are trying to get kids off to school or getting themselves off to work, it is hectic. So if you know that that's your schedule, plan ahead. Maybe you like oatmeal. So you can make that ahead of time. Most people just make it in the morning if they're going to have that, but you can make that ahead of time. So why not? And you can just throw it in the microwave for a minute, and there you've got a nice bowl of oatmeal. Smoothies are a big thing now.
Yeah, and they're fun and they taste good.
Yeah, they can be very nutritious, and they can be pretty high calorie and sugary too. So finding a good recipe that's kind of a balance.
Okay.
But throw those ingredients in a blender the night before, and put the blender out on the counter so that all you have to do is turn it on, pour it in a cup, and there you go.
Now, for a person that is super, super busy and they don't even have time to make instant oatmeal, is it sufficient just to grab an apple or grab a banana and that suffice for your breakfast?
So it's better than nothing, but it's probably not going to last you too long. I think the biggest problem with not eating breakfast is that you get to lunchtime and you're starving.
Yes.
When you're starving, you're not making good decisions.
Okay.
So it's not the time to start thinking, oh, well, what am I going to have for lunch? Because then you want to eat everything in sight. But if you can eat something a little more substantial, maybe including a cheese stick with that apple.
Okay.
So you've got a little bit of protein in there along with a little bit of carb with your vitamins and minerals.
And I think you started on this answer, but someone wants to know, why is breakfast so important? Why is it the most important meal of the day?
Yep, exactly. That is so that you can get yourself going. Think about the kids that are eating breakfast at eating lunch at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They're sitting there in school and they're trying to concentrate, and they have no fuel feeding their brains.
Right.
So they're thinking about when am I going to eat, instead of 2 + 2 is 4.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yep. Another parent wants to know, my child refuses to eat breakfast, but I know it's important. What do I do? So how do you get them to eat it?
So think about what they do like to eat, and why they don't want to eat breakfast. Is it they'd rather sleep an extra 10 minutes? Why is it that they won't eat breakfast?
Okay.
If it's really that they're truly not hungry, find something that's light, like a piece of fruit, maybe some higher protein, lower sugar granola bar.
Okay.
Something like that. That's small. If they'll drink a cup of milk, a cup of milk it's got protein, it's got a little bit of carb, so it can certainly fit in. But just something to get them going. If they need to take it with them, some people are allowed to eat on the bus, so maybe they take it on the bus. But just so they get something in there. But be a role model too. So if you're eating breakfast, your kids are going to see that. If you're skipping breakfast, they're going to see that too.
That's true. That's very true. Now, as far as healthy habits, I know diet is an important part of that, but also working out and being active goes in tandem with that. And a parent wants to know, how do they get their child to be more active, because their kid only likes to play Xbox?
Yeah, I hear that.
Which is a big problem for today's generation.
Right. I have a 16-year-old that loves Xbox, and he also loves to play soccer. So it is a good balance.
Okay.
But just making sure that they are getting an hour of activity every day. So if they want to play some Xbox, it's not such a big deal, as long as they are balancing that. But you're the parent. You set the rules, and they should be following them. So if you know that they're on Xbox too much, get them off of that. But limit screen time. And that goes for Xbox, that goes for the computer, that goes for
anything,
TV.
Your phone.
So it's all of those things. And a lot, maybe not Xbox as adults, but, well, some people. But maybe it's not Xbox, but a lot of us are constantly on our phones or sitting and watching TV, Netflix, so all sorts of things.
I think organized sports is a really good way to get kids out of the house, because it's structured, it involves other kids, and so they aren't thinking about playing Xbox or doing something that has them inactive. So that was really good.
Right, and especially if their friends are doing something too. It's a social thing. Yes. Now, not all kids are social, so
this is true.
It is definitely more of a struggle, but going out for a walk with your kid so that they see you doing it.
Yep.
Maybe they want to go with you.
Yep.
But something to just get them active.
This is really good, and I think it goes towards the question about snacks. The person wants to know, what should I keep in the pantry?
So that really depends. It's a loaded question. So there's so many different things to keep in the pantry. But think of the snacks that you like to eat, and if they're real high fat, high carb, high sugar snacks, what can you do to alter them? So if it's snack crackers and things like that, maybe you can find a lower fat alternative. So as far as snacks go, trying to make sure that you always have some fruit. Maybe you have applesauce, some cereals. Sometimes those are great when the kids come home from school and they just need a quick snack. It's easy for them to get that on their own, depending on their age. But things like that. Also having some grains and things that you can make quickly for meals.
Mm-hmm.
Fruits and vegetables, I can't emphasize those enough, but those aren't necessarily pantry items.
Right.
They do go bad, and so it's replenishing them much more frequently.
What about nuts? Because nuts can be fatty, but I would think that's better than potato chips. I don't know.
I think you're right. You've done your research. So it really does, those are great ideas, unless of course you have food allergies, which a lot of kids do now. But it's a great snack. The biggest thing with nuts is it's really easy to overdo the amount.
Okay.
So put them in a dish, put them in, they have the little 100-calorie packs.
Mm-hmm.
They have smaller portion size packs.
Right. Yes.
Because it's really easy to overdo them, and they're not low calorie, so overdoing them can lead to too many calories, which can lead to being overweight.
Right.
But nuts they're a great source of vitamins, minerals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great thing to keep in the house.
But the 100-calorie packs that you mentioned is a really good idea, because that's what I do to kind of like keep myself, because I love Oreos, but I know that Oreos are bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the thin 100-calorie Oreo little crisps as opposed to real Oreos. And I think that that's kind of getting the best of both worlds. You're healthier, and you still get the taste of what you want. You know?
Right. And if 80 to 90% of what you're eating is nutritious, and by that I mean higher in fiber, higher in vitamins and minerals, lower in sugar, lower in fat. If the majority of your foods are more nutritious, it's certainly okay to have Oreos.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly okay to have cookies or a piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of the balance.
Okay.
So the one problem with the little snack packs, and this comes into play around Halloween, is they've done studies on how many little, for example, Snickers bars people will eat. If they buy a full-size Snicker bar,
you probably eat less.
One, or maybe even half of it. But a lot of people will end up going back and back. Oh, it was just a little piece. And before they know it, they've eaten the equivalent of 2 or 3 Snickers bars.
Wow.
So it is important to kind of keep that in mind.
Yes.
Just keep the portions down.
Alrighty. The next question. It is so expensive to eat healthy. What can I make and pack that is inexpensive yet healthy? And that is a great question, especially for lower income families who still want their children to be healthy and have, balanced diets.
Yep. So I actually disagree. I don't think that eating healthy is more expensive.
Okay.
I think if you're buying health foods and health products and this, that, and the other, sure, it adds up. Those items can be quite pricey.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting rid of a lot of the junk in the house, and by junk I mean more like the chips and the cookies and stuff like that it can be pretty expensive. If you're not buying those types of things, then you have extra savings. That maybe fruits and vegetables are a little bit. We have a caller calling in.
The phone wants to take over our Facebook Live. That's not going to happen.
So if you're not spending money on sodas and chips and cookies and all of that, that's a savings that maybe you can put into some of the more nutritious foods that might be a little bit more expensive, but it's a balance. It's not just a balance in what you're eating, but a balance of your wallet.
Okay. Now, Laura specifically wants to know, what would you put in a lunchbox? What would you specifically put in a lunchbox?
So I brought my daughter's lunchbox
today.
It's
so cute too.
And so it's pretty, but and sometimes she'll pack containers. I always pack in containers, but as far as my kids go, they don't necessarily want to carry it around all day. So baggies sometimes do a great job. But a sandwich can be a great start of a meal. It really depends on you and your child. My kids lately have been packing little salads.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't tell you my kids have the perfect diet,
right?
But they enjoy that. My daughter likes Caesar salad, so she'll make herself a Caesar salad, and some of the stores actually have these very nicely packaged salads with a fork in it and the dressing, and they're pretty low calorie. They taste good. Some of them have little nuts on them, but crackers and cheese are a great snack, or a great start to a lunch. A fruit, maybe some vegetables if your kid will eat the vegetables. If they need a little bit of salad dressing to dip their vegetables in, fine.
Right.
But something that's a little bit of balance without being all just chips and ham and very processed foods. So those are some of the things that we pack for lunch.
Okay.
Some of these are, like, I love my little
thermos.
My thermos. So, and it's, it actually has a little spoon on it. It's very cute.
Aww.
So, and that way, if I want to pack soup, I don't need to heat it up. I don't know too many schools that will let the kids go and microwave something, especially in metal. But if they have, if it's already heated, throw it in there and carry it around, and it's great. You could even put leftovers from the night before if you want something more hot, especially once the temperature starts cooling down.
Right. Now, you spoke earlier about processed foods, and this is a great lead into the next question. Patricia wants to know, is turkey healthy? Why or why not? And do children need meat in their diets? Why or why not? Do they need animal milk in their diets? Why or why not?
So, Patricia, it's very important that you know what the difference between different types of turkey is.
Right.
So, if you're cooking turkey from a whole turkey or turkey pieces, you control what's in there. If you are buying deli turkey, it goes for deli ham and chicken and all the deli meats. If you are buying more organic or natural, it's not going to have the nitrates in it.
Right.
It's the nitrate-free meats that you want to look for, because that's really kind of the more of the health risk in foods. Possibly carcinogenic. We don't really know how much of it really is good for us, but but you can certainly include turkey. It can be healthy. It may not be. So just looking for those types of things. And certainly, Patricia, you don't need animal milk. There are plenty of vegetarians out there that have very well balanced, nutritious diets. They don't drink animal milk. So you just have to make sure you're getting calcium, you're getting your vitamin D from other sources. So no, you don't have to have animal milk.
Okay.
And there are all sorts of milks out there now. There's soy milk and almond milk and cashew milk.
My favorite is cashew because it tastes just like regular milk to me.
Yeah, it's good. Coconut milk. My husband loves his coconut milk.
All right, and someone, I think you answered this question already, so I'm going to skip that one. But what is the most important thing to remember when packing a healthy lunch?
So I'm not sure there is a most important thing, but variety, moderation, and balance. Those are the three keys. So if you're getting different types of foods in your lunch, great. The portions, another key, and just a balance of the variety and balance kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. Let's talk about mistakes, because a lot of us make mistakes and don't realize that we're making mistakes.
Nobody makes mistakes.
What is a common lunch mistake you see people make?
So I would say there are probably two. One is packing sugary drinks. So I'm very much against packing soda in a child's lunchbox. I think that my kids' elementary school, they weren't even allowed to pack soda. I don't know how that was enforced, but just even a lot of the juices just have a lot of sugar in them. A half a cup of juice is a portion size. That's 4 ounces. A lot of the juice boxes are 8 ounces, and a lot of them have added sugar to them too. So that would be probably the biggest mistake, I would say. And then the processed foods. If you can try and avoid a lot of the processed foods, you're way ahead of the game.
Okay, which leads me to a question that I had. Should parents eliminate junk food completely from their kids' diets, or is it okay if they just minimize it?
You hit the nail on the head. Minimizing it. I mean, a kid's a kid. Well, an adult's an adult. I mean, I like sweets. Am I going to tell you? Am I going to tell you to completely cut them out? Absolutely not. Can they be part of a healthy diet? Absolutely. So if we say no, no, no to ourselves, sometimes we want it more, more, more. But if we can just keep it to a minimum, it really does help to kind of keep us on track and make our diets more nutritious.
Okay, and we have another question. Tracy wants to know, how do you make a cool, balanced lunch for a 5th grade boy who is the victim of bullying?
Well, Tracy, I hope that I hope that's a hypothetical question, but unfortunately, it probably isn't. I'm not the expert on bullying by any means, but maybe you engage this boy in helping to fix his own lunch so that he knows what other kids have in their lunches. And if those types of things that he thinks might be more cool, maybe more processed, maybe more sugary, find alternatives. So there's alternatives to all sorts of different things, but still trying to keep it a healthful lunch without other kids kind of picking on you at lunch.
Yeah. Do we have any questions?
We do have a question from Ellen, and she wants to know, what's a healthy drink option for children and their parents?
Good question, Ellen. So the absolute best drink choice is water. So we can't get enough water.
Right.
And especially during the school day, it's sometimes hard to get water in. A lot of the water from the water fountains doesn't taste very good.
Right.
And the kids don't always have access to it during the day. But water really is the absolute best drink. Pack it in a fun water bottle that looks cute. Food is 90%
mental
or more mental. If it looks good, it's going to taste good. If you put it in a fun bottle, your kid may be more likely to drink water. If it's not water, some low fat or skim milk. If they don't have the ability to keep it cold long enough, that's probably not a great option. Although they do have shelf stable milk that can be a good option. Small amounts of juice, but 4 ounces really is key, because 60 calories in 4 ounces of juice. You double that,
that's a lot.
120.
Yeah.
Most people have a nice big glass of juice.
Yes.
You're looking at sometimes 300 calories just from juice.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the water. What about people who don't like water, and so they get the water that has like a hint of orange, or water that is somewhat flavored? Is that still good, or does it have NutraSweet in it, which is bad, or how does that work?
So if you ask 10 different dietitians, you'll get 10 different answers about NutraSweet. So NutraSweet is considered to be safe in small amounts, but a lot of people don't want it. And so I teach people ways of getting water in that doesn't have to have NutraSweet, but still can have some flavor to it. A splash of soda in there. Not soda, sorry. I'm thinking of seltzer water.
Right.
But a splash of juice.
Okay.
So it's not loaded with calories and sugar, but it gives it a little bit of flavor. Squeezing a lemon or a lime. If you make a big pitcher of water and keep it in the refrigerator with some fruit in it, whether it's blueberries or cranberries, my favorite is slicing up some cucumbers.
Yes.
And
that's really
putting
good. I like
some lemon slices in there. Oh, it's yummy, in my opinion.
What about organic teas, like Honest Tea? I hate to mention like a certain brand, but that's the only one that I can think of that is kind of like, it's not really sugary and it's all natural stuff. It's just like, it has taste to it, but it's not super sweet. What about those?
So looking at the food label on it really can help.
Mm-hmm.
So drinks really should be very, very low in calories.
Okay.
So a lot of the drinks, even the teas,
Mm-hmm.
are loaded with calories. So just looking at the labels to see how many servings are in there first of all, because some of those bottles that you might be drinking the entire bottle, maybe 2.5 servings.
Wow.
So then you have to double or multiply 2.5
Mm-hmm.
by the number of calories that are in there. And usually those calories are from sugar in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it may not be high fructose corn syrup, or it might not be the white powdery stuff that we think of as sugar, honey is natural,
But it's still sugar.
but it's still sugar. Agave is used in a lot
Yes.
of products now. So it really depends. So you
Mhm.
want the drinks to be pretty low in calories.
What about mineral water? Because I'm a person that really does not like water, so I need it to be exciting for me. So I drink a lot of mineral water, and then somebody said to me, well, you have to be careful with mineral water because even though it's low in calories, it's high in sodium. So do you have to be careful with that, or is the amount of sodium that's in mineral water not really detrimental?
It's usually not very much.
Okay.
So there's, there may be some that are higher in sodium, but in a day, 2,400 milligrams of sodium is really the maximum we should have.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are way above that, but it depends on what else you're getting sodium in. But
Right.
usually mineral water is pretty low.
Okay. Do we have any more audience questions? Is there anything else that you feel that people need to know as we go into a new season, as we go into like the hustle and bustle of the holidays and
Mhm.
school and all that stuff? What do people need to be mindful of as far as maintaining a healthy family diet?
Yeah, just number one is planning ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Try to have family meals when you can.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's really hard when you're running around and not getting home till late. But if you can pick 1 or 2 nights a week to make sure that you're sitting down as a family, it's good talk time.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as lunches go, just making sure you have the ingredients in the house to make some lunches.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe make a list of 5 different lunch ideas that you know are more nutritious, that are easy to pack, easy to keep those items in the house. Plan that ahead so that when you're going to the grocery store, you make sure you've got those things
Right.
in the house so that you're not running around last minute, oh, I need a tomato for this. And so you're running out to the store just for a tomato, which doesn't save anybody any time or effort.
Right. What is your favorite low-cost healthy snack?
My favorite low-cost healthy snack,
Mm-hmm.
for me personally,
Yes.
Probably fruit.
Okay.
I love to buy a big watermelon and cut it up and
Mhm.
just have some watermelon. That was my snack this morning, in case you're wondering. But it's yummy. It tastes good. It's low
Mhm.
calorie. It's refreshing, especially when it's warm out.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's not very expensive. For a lot of people, a banana.
Okay.
Bananas are one of the cheapest foods, but very nutritious. Too many bananas are too high calorie and high
Mhm.
sugar, but a banana is a great snack.
Okay. And how many times a day should people really be eating, especially kids? Because there are so many different theories that you need to have 3 balanced meals per day, but then other people say that you should have 5 mini meals to increase your metabolism. Like, what's really
Yeah,
the deal?
it depends on your schedule. It depends on how you like to eat, what your schedule is like.
Mm-hmm.
3 meals really, my personal opinion, should be the minimum. But for kids, they probably need a snack, maybe at the end of the day, maybe a snack before they go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
but a snack. I always distinguish between snack as a noun and snack as a verb.
Okay.
So it's okay to have a snack, but if you are snacking, it can get you into trouble. But having 3 meals, 1 or 2 snacks a day, generally what I would suggest, but it really depends on you. When I see patients over the Geckel Center, it really is a matter of what do you need? What is going to work for you? And so what's going to work for you may not work for the next person, and so on. But it really depends on what you like to eat, how you like to eat, who you're with when you're eating. So everybody is so different.
We have a primarily African-American audience here at Magic. And so I want to talk about grazing because African-American households tend to graze. And for a lot of African-American households, we associate food and love. And so growing up, my grandmother's kitchen was the community area. Like there was no place that we couldn't go. There was nothing that we couldn't eat. And it was like, if the boy is hungry, let him eat. If the girl's hungry, let her eat. And so we would literally, like when I think about my childhood, we would literally eat or graze all day, every day. If I wanted a piece of ham, I would go to the refrigerator and just get a piece of ham and then go outside and run and play and then come back and get something else. Is it okay to graze, or should there be some off limits as far as like kids and snacking and eating? How does that work? And if so, how do you set boundaries without making your child feel like their home isn't their home?
Right. And so it kind of goes back to that same statement of using snack as a verb versus a noun. If you can have a snack when you get home, but if you're constantly going back to the refrigerator, and it's hard to make cultural statements, especially when you grow up that way.
Exactly.
It's hard to change that. But if you can really make sure you have a snack instead of graze,
right,
it really does make a difference. And if you can be a role model to your kids, it really helps so that they can learn how to have a snack rather than feeling like they're constantly going back to the refrigerator. We want to make sure that people recognize their feelings of hunger versus satiety. We want to make sure that you know when you've had enough. And when food tastes good, it's fun to eat.
It does.
And it's so it's really hard to tell someone limit it, stop it.
Right.
So it's just something that you have to practice it. And
should there be a situation where children have to ask to get a snack or ask to get certain food?
That's a great question. I think it really depends on your family. So I have a lot of friends that really demand that their kids ask them before they get anything from the refrigerator or the pantry. I can't say that we do that in my house. It's, I mean, I certainly will. If my daughter wants to have an extra serving of cookies or cake or something, it's, do you really need it or do you want it? What's going on?
Right.
But it really depends on your household. If it's a kid that's constantly going back to the pantry, then maybe you do need to set some limits. But it's hard for me to say absolutely ask every time because every family is different.
What do you do when you're in a household where there are siblings and maybe one sibling is obese and so they need restrictions that the other siblings don't need? How do you balance that and make all the children feel included in?
So healthy eating is the family-wide. So really someone that is overweight should probably be eating the same foods as someone that is not overweight.
Okay.
A healthful diet for someone that's not overweight. The portions may be smaller.
Okay.
We may encourage that person to really get more activity.
Okay.
Just really making sure that they are really getting that. But it's really, I mean, I work with a lot of people with diabetes.
Right.
And I tell them all the time that eating for diabetes really isn't much different than just healthful eating.
Wow.
And so it's just a nutritious way of eating that every person is different. So it's really working with the individual person to see what's going to work with them or for them.
Okay. All right. So if we don't have any more questions from the audience, this has been a complete and total pleasure. And I know that the listeners and viewers got so much from it. And once again, that's Nancy Glaser, registered dietitian at the Gecko Diabetes and Nutrition Center for GBMC. And we were talking healthy habits for your family. And we'll see you the third Thursday of next month with more of GBMC Live with Magic 95.9.